Welcome to Adulting with Joyce Pring. Watch the full video of this episode on my channel, www.youtube.com/JoycePringTV. And if you want to level up your adulting game, check out joycepring.com/collections for my digital products and courses.
Next difficult topic that partners have trouble discussing is personal insecurities. Ayan. So opening up about personal insecurities, fears, or vulnerabilities can be difficult for individuals who struggle with their self-esteem. Me, I do struggle with my self-esteem or have experienced past traumas.
Me, I have struggled with past traumas. It's like you set us up for that.
I did not know that was coming, pero let's just go with it. So yeah, I feel that this point requires a lot of ego aside and humbleness
Okay.
to be able to accept kung ano talaga yung mga weakness mo sa towards or with your partner. So ako, just like what I've mentioned, I am very insecure about myself. Siguro kasi yun yung
Right?
Slight-
Can you believe it? Look at him.
slight trauma ko sa showbiz industry where you're constantly compared, you're constantly subjected to scrutiny and a lot of those things.
Which
na
is
parang-
not a knock on our industry.
It
It's just
isn't.
how things go.
Yeah, it isn't. Hindi lang naman sa Pilipinas yan, di ba? Even in other countries, it is parang basically products kami, di ba? So products tayo. So parang hindi naman siya to the extent of yung mga people that make a decision that I'm going to attack this person personally. It isn't. But syempre, may ibang mga talents that can, bring out better results. Diba? That's just how it works. And having been there for so long now, parang nag-develop ako ng insecurity na I brace myself for the worst possible outcome because I don't want to expect too high. Coming from a commercial industry before I started GMA, you would go to 100 different VTRs and just get 2 or 3 confirmed
And you're
commercials.
even lucky if you get 2 or 3.
Oo, kasi parang 'di ba, paulit-ulit mag-VTR ka, gagawin mo, aarte ka, abot ka sa final casting, tas hindi ka makakast, 'di ba? That also goes in that industry or in our current industry na parang na-expect mo na, hindi naman ako makukuha dito eh. So parang feeling ko, ako personally, that spilled also towards my personality and how I value things. So parang I'm always saying, hindi, wala yan. Ano naman eh. Parang I always set low expectations of myself and have na when I walk in the room, I know that there are other people better than me na to the point na alam mo yun, yung body language ko changes and how I speak to other people without confidence changes as well. So doon na parang nahihirapan yung growth ko as a person. So that's something that I brought to this relationship and also caused conflict within us. And it's something that I try to continuously work on right now. And kailangan mo talaga maging parang basically kailangan mo maging humble and accepting na parang, okay, yes, I'm going to talk about this because I want to face this head on and it's something that I struggle with and hopefully she hindi naman helps me through it but kind of understands where I stand and why things happen for a reason. So
Yeah. I appreciate that, love. That was very vulnerable of you.
yun ang personal insecurity ko eh. Parang I just wanted to speak from a personal experience. Ang dami naman paulit-ulit na words. So.
Yeah, and with me naman, yung past traumas ko nga, I have brought into the relationship to the point that yes, Lord. To the point that we needed to really seek counsel for it because it changes parang nag-change ako pag nahihirapan ako, pag may anger ako, pag nahihirapan si Juancho. The way that I respond is just very, I wouldn't say stoic, but more like cruel. Like, you're not allowed to feel emotions. You're not allowed to, you know, because that's how I was treated before. I was treated that way growing up, where hindi ka pwedeng, you only have value here if you're perfect and if you meet our standards. And once you show weakness and emotions, we don't want you. And I would bring that into the marriage. And it was really hard for me. It's surprising that I'm able to talk about it now, because it was really hard for me to accept that that's how I was as a person. Like, can I talk intimately about one of the experiences that we had?
Okay.
Now, for example, Wancho would be crying dahil nag-away kami. And I will tell him to shut up. Imagine how cruel that is. Your husband, who you promised to love and cherish for the rest of your life, is being vulnerable and telling you that he's having a hard time and he's crying. And my first reaction was to just, can you shut up? Can you stop crying? And it was only through counseling and actually having another person come in and have that discussion with us that I realized na, oh, that's how I was treated when I was growing up. Like, the moment that you shared emotions, or you weren't living up to their expectations, or you weren't perfect, and you're not, the moment that you show any sign of weakness, you're just like, I don't welcome you in this space at all. And it's hard. It's a really hard conversation. And the reason why we felt like it was something that needed to be discussed already is naging recurring na away na siya. So, yung personal insecurities natin, you need to start talking about it talaga. Sit down with it and kind of slowly peel back the shame already. When you see that nagiging cause na talaga siya ng conflict at hindi siya ma-resolve. Yun yung na-experience natin, di ba? And an encouragement lang, I think the reason why I started to have the confidence to talk about it and to actually open it up to Wancho and accept what he was telling me na ganito ka, ganito yung nangyayari sa'yo pag nag-aaway tayo, or if I show any emotions, is because I accepted and I started to realize that when you are in Christ, there is no more shame na. You're a new creation. Diba? It's no longer you who live, but Christ lives in you. And so yung mga pinagdaanan mo before, the way that you were treated, the way that you were before, the past experiences that you have, your insecurities, that's no longer who you are. You are a new creation in Christ. And I think that's such an important encouragement, especially for a lot of people who have big insecurities and who have past traumas. Yeah, and I want to say also that this particular conversation requires a lot of grace from your partner. You have to have a lot of grace talaga. If your partner starts opening up about their personal insecurities or their past traumas, huwag mo naman gatungan, di ba, na oo nga, ganyan ka talaga. Ganyan ka talaga. Hindi. It's a time for you to show grace and hold space. So, there.
On to the next point.
Next point. Okay. Let's go.
Boundaries and expectations. Discussing individuals' boundaries, expectations in the relationship, and personal needs may require open and honest communication, but can be challenging if partners have different perspectives or difficulty expressing their needs. Interesting.
What does it look like? Personal boundaries, for example. When you just are... Why? What's happening?
Wala, nagsisniff ako, nilalayo ko lang sa mic.
Okay. So what does personal boundaries look like in a marriage? And I have been practicing opening this up to Wancho more. It's a difficult conversation, but I need it because it will drive me crazy if I don't talk about it. So, for example, I say to Wancho, it's okay, go play basketball. I need my alone time also. It's okay. Is it okay? I don't want to talk. I just want to sit here and eat dinner quietly. Like if I'm overstimulated and I just had a really long day of taking care of the kids, I just go, I cannot discuss right now. Or is it okay if we talk about this like after I have my coffee? Because I just won't be able to handle it at all. That's what personal boundary looks like. You know, the beauty of marriage and relationship is you don't necessarily have to be 24/7 every minute every second available to your partner, because you can actually be honest enough and say, I'm at 10% right now.
Yeah.
Can you just give me 90? Because this marriage is not gonna work because I'm just at 10. It's not always, si Brene Brown natin yung nagsabi nun, na parang sabi niya, marriage is not 50-50. Parang 30 years na silang married ng asawa niya. And when he comes home daw from work, sinasabi nila sa isa't isa, I'm at 50. Can you fill up the rest of the 50? I'm at 20 right now. Can you just give me 80? Like, I need more patience. I need more grace, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
I feel like this naman is something that couples should discuss pragmatically, na parang ano ba talaga yung expectations mo sa akin. Usually, ganyan, kailangan setting the table, setting, the expectations towards one another needs to happen ng walang emotionally charged
Yeah.
for you guys to be able to come up with solutions that would help the relationship in the future.
Yeah.
So I'll keep it short like that. So tayo, we struggle with this because syempre kasi minsan hindi natin alam kung paano titimplahin yung kailangan pag-usapan right now, and if the situation calls for it already. So that's that, there's no template there, or there's no right and wrong there. It's just a feeling thing that you need to do. So we navigate through this through yun nga, parang knowing yung mga preferences and expectations which have been talked about pragmatically in the past.
Okay. Which brings us to our final hard topic for today: health issues. Sharing information about your personal health concerns, mental health struggles, chronic conditions can be challenging, especially if there's fear of judgment or lack of understanding. So I think this, goes from one point to another. It could be like, I have, with Juancho and I, before we got engaged, when we were starting dating lang, but we were in premarital counseling already, I openly talked about health issues that I had back then, which I said, I have PCOS and it might be difficult for us to have a baby. And my number one fear is that we get married and we won't have babies. And Juancho, I was just being completely honest about that. And Juancho was very supportive of it. And I know that's a very difficult thing to go through, even if you're, talking about your depression, if you're talking about like, even yung health issues na grabe ka mag-weight gain or grabe ka mag-lose ng weight, if those are things that you need to discuss with your partner, take it slowly talaga. And try to navigate it together in such a way na you just lay out, ito yung issue, ito yung pinagdadaanan ko, ito yung mga bagay-bagay na kailangan kong sabihin. Is there a way that we can find our balance
Yeah.
through it all?
Wala akong personal anecdotes dito because di ko na experience to, but I do agree that this is something na kailangan pag-usapan and be honest about, because it might cause a lot more problems in the future. Like for example, if I'm going to bring this close to home right now, I have a tendency of hiding na parang may masakit sa akin, 'di ba? Para hindi na ako ma-hospital, or 'di ba, for example, we have parents na may headache na pala one week na, tapos ayaw ipatingin, 'di ba? It's something that health is something that we really should not take lightly,
Yeah.
in that way na parang kailangan natin maging vulnerable in a sense na, this there's something bothering me and we need to get it checked, and 'di ba, no matter how much it costs, our health would always be at the top of the priority when it comes to 'di ba, something that we prioritize each and every day. So agree ako dito sa point na to. Having said that, wala na ako sasabihin pa iba. Good
Yun na
job
yun.
kung sino yung nagsulat nito. Thank you. Now I know na I'm not gonna hide anything. Kapag may masakit sa akin, sasabihin ko sa'yo.
Pag-usapan nyo. I guess the final conclusion for this is lahat ng bagay mapag-uusapan. As it's a cliche for a reason. Lahat ng bagay pwedeng pag-usapan ng maayos. Kung hindi nyo kasi pag-usapan, mas lalaki yung problema. And that is always I want that to be something that we practice in our marriage. Diba? Yung parang, just rip off the Band-Aid. Healthy conversations is one of the biggest foundations of a healthy marriage. And it takes a lot of practice. We're not perfect. We're growing, we're learning, but we've also learned a lot by God's grace. So,
That's it for this episode of Adulting with Joyce Pring. If you liked this podcast, please don't forget to use the hashtag Adulting with Joyce Pring and also check out www.joycepring.com for the show notes and tag me on social media with you know it at Joyce Pring. I'll talk to you guys again soon. Paalam!